Well, I think we can pick up where we left off. And of course, people straight away coming up to me going, well, how do I make more space? How do I make more space? And it's very difficult for me to tell you how to make more space without you turning it into another tool or method or path, which is exactly the same you do in how do I make more money, how do I make more money. Can you see what I'm saying? You might as well, when you come up to me and go, how do I make more space, how do I make space, how do I make more space, it could almost be the same as how do I make more money, how do I make more money. But I am going to talk about that. It's not that I'm not going to talk about that, but it's very difficult for me to talk about it without you turning it into another tool or technique or this is what I got to do, this is what I got. That's all coming from your head. Everything, my whole life is living from the unstructured. We spoke about this last month or the month before. It's unplanned, it's unstructured. Does that mean there's no structure in my life or in my business? No, there is structure. There is. But I'm not making that structure. I just realized I just show up and it's been structured. There was never this structure in this program. Some of you, like Liz and Sandy, you guys have been around this program. This is your second, third time around, if you like. You've been around from the very beginning where it was created. There was no structure. We used to just go, hey, let's just all meet once a month in my house. It then got turned into a program. It then got turned into a circle. It then got turned into, okay, there's a topic a month. It then got turned into this series that went on online. Did I ever structure that? No, but it got structured. Can you see what I'm saying? But the structure came from the unstructured. The structure didn't come from the structure. Can you see? This physical form is a structured. This physical structured being didn't make the structure. You see? When an architect's an architect, they still plan and make a design, but an amazing architect, one with great impact in the world, is one who gets the design from the formless, not from the form. Can you see? Same as the planning, same as your financial spending or your financial, plans or, nothing wrong with having a financial plan. All right, nothing wrong with having investments. It doesn't mean you go, well, I don't need to play that game. Doesn't mean if you have, I had a client yesterday who I gave a quick session with over the phone, and she wanted to make she had like a few $100,000 and she didn't know what to do. I feel like I need to be investing in this. And I was like, why do you feel like you need to invest it? She's like, because, I should be. And the moment it's a should, it's not the right, it's coming from the form. It's coming from, the plan is coming from the part of you that has already been formed. You see, nothing wrong with a plan, but when you get yourself out of the way, the plan is unfolding through you from the unplanned. What's the unplanned? What am I describing when I say the unplanned? The infinite. The infinite is not formed. It's not structured. It has because structure means it has boundaries. Infinite is not unstructured. It's all things possible. Everything's possible in the infinite. Even failing, even missing, even winning, even losing. All things are possible. It's coming from the unstructured. Well, same goes with, what you decide to do financially. Do I have some kind of structure in my financial accounts in my company? Yes. And these are things that just I felt to do. It's not like my accountant came and told me to, and sure, I'll take my accountant's advice as well. It's not like I won't. But it's just things that I felt to do. Like one of the things, for example, I'll give you an example. When the money comes into our bank account, our company bank account, I don't touch it. There's a rule of thumb that I give my team, or no one touches the money but me and Ryan. But I tell Ryan, do not touch the bank account until the following week. Why do I do that? Because I don't. Let me just give you an example. That is a structure, right? But that structure is what I felt to do when I didn't know what I'm meant to do with this money. If the money just comes in and then I think it's mine, then I will spend it. But when the money comes in, it's not all mine. That money's come for me to spend it or to pay wages, to pay rent, to pay venues, to pay flights. Can you see what I'm saying? So I don't go and spend other people's money. So I put that aside and I don't touch it for a week. Now, what I'm describing to you here is a structure. But I didn't come here and go, well, this is the way I'm going to do it. I just would do whatever I felt to do, and then one of the things that I felt to do was that. And you see, that became a structure. Same as this OMG program. I didn't structure, I didn't sit down. Right now, I spoke to you about me coming up with a new program that I'm doing next year. All right? The first thing that came to me is that it's going to be, it's going to be every quarter. It's going to be over 3 days every quarter, and it's a 12-month program. Okay? Complete different program, right? The next thing that came to me is what the program is about. Yeah, I didn't even know what the program is about. I just sit, and then now I guarantee you, I'm going to LA on Friday, and I'll have a weekend by myself. That's when I sit and give space to things, all right? And by the way, giving space to things means you're being present with things, because space is something you experience in the present moment. So when one of the things that I do in training the guys in the team, I train them to become coaches, like Rachel's become a coach. When I train Rachel to become a coach, I train them to give space to the client. And all that means is being present with the client without coming up with, well, this is what I should say to her or him, or this is where I want to take them. No, you just give space, and within the space, then it will come to you where to take the client. Same as OMG. I don't know what I'm going to say to you. I just come here and give space, and I've become more efficient in finding that space. You know, here we are talking about footy. I'm not in that space, right? And that's an exciting conversation I'm having with you guys. You know, the Roosters, and we're talking about. But when there was a camera on, and we have to, I'm on here in the circle. It's a change, because over here we're having an interaction over here. Sure, there's a bit of over here because we're talking about our football teams, right? But the moment I come here, it's like, and I just stop, and I find the space. And the thing is, the space is already there. I don't need to create it. So for those who are asking me about how do we make more space, it's already there. You don't make more space. This is the funny thing about the conversation. The space is already there. And now, 18 months ago, 2 years ago, I couldn't do that. It would take me a few minutes. I would have to close my eyes and actually have a meditation before I can find my space again. But nowadays, it's just like, go the Roosters, and get a little bit competitive and all that kind of, and then you're there, like you find it, okay? One of the, microphone over here, one of the homeworks I'm gonna give to you guys over this trip, over this month is going to be a trip, over this month is a process or a practice where you will notice your space. I'm gonna leave you something, you will practice with it.
But weren't you present with us? Weren't you in that? You were sharing space with us. So what's the difference? There's no difference. The one was the other. You're actually almost, and I hate to say this, but you're almost missing it there, because I think you were sort of saying, well, when I was with you guys, I wasn't in a present moment, but here I got myself steady into a present place. In reality, you were quite present with us. You were only thinking about that conversation and so forth. You weren't. So that was almost a duality. You're always saying there was a duality thing. I'll be present, and then I'll be not present. But
absolutely, but 100%. I
felt you.
I was present with you guys, and the thing is, and I was very enrolled in that conversation. We're talking about my favorite football team. We're talking about sports. I'm very enrolled, so I'm present there, right? But when I come to over here, what I do here is different. So when I'm present to you there, it's almost like if I could say it, I'm present at a surface level, like it's a physical part of me that's present. And nothing wrong with the physical part of me. Like right there, it's my physical part, it's my competitive part, and it's fun, you know? I'm talking about something that I really have a lot of love for.
But the only reason I jumped in was because this is exactly what we've talked a lot about over the long time, is this thing of being, we were just talking about at the break, it's about being present and trying not to have those not to have those different things. Actually, it's like 24 hours a day being able to live that thing. And I guess, what am I saying?
Let me make it easy for you.
Yes,
right?
you know what I'm saying.
Don't you? I do know what you're saying. You're present right now in this conversation with me, right? All right? If you go home tonight and you're going to have sex with your wife, right, the level of presence changes. You understand? You change gears. You're not going to be looking at this, like we're having our conversation right now, right? But when it's your wife or when you're having sex with somebody, right, suddenly the presence, it's deeper. You're not just present in your mind and maybe a bit of heart, you're present with your whole body, like your whole body is alive. Can you see? It's a different form. Okay, so I get that, like I'm present there, but when I come to do present here, I can't be in the same gear I was in talking about football, because now I have to get myself completely out of the way for a deeper part of me that's present to speak. Okay, so making love with someone is just an example. Talking to a mate, your level of presence is different. You go home and talk to your wife or your partner right now, your presence is going to be different. When you're present with your animal, it's going to be different. When you go say hello to your pet, it's different. You're still present, okay, but it's different forms of presence. And I've said this before in the past, I'll come to you in a sec. When all we are is like an orchestra. Every single one of us, or every single different experience that you're having, is like a different instrument. One experience is a violin, one experience is a trumpet, and so on, right? But the thing is, every experience or every instrument makes a different sound. But all the instruments or all the different experiences is part of one song. That's why I always say love is all there is, all else is your judgment what is. Everything that is being played out is coming from that space of love. They may seem different. They may seem, is it you again? Twice.
Yeah.
You're in big trouble now. Microphone, please. Guys, please make sure your phones are switched off.
It just made me think of that kick that you described a couple of OMGs ago in the State of Origin.
The Cooper Cronk kick.
Okay. So in that space, he's in the same space that you are when you're talking. It's a different gear to talking to someone. But when he was actually in that space, he's in the same gear that you're talking about when you're actually on camera talking to us.
It's a different one, but yes.
Different again.
It's different to him thinking about what should I do in the next football move, right? Versus this is what's going to be happening. It's, I don't want to, what do you call it? Compare apples and oranges. It's, if I keep it to sports, right? It's a different gear when he is thinking about what he's going to do in the next move versus he's not thinking about what he's going to do in the next move, but the move is happening through him. It's a different gear.
So you're not in that gear when you're having a conversation with someone. You're not totally present. No,
I think you are present, and I think you can be totally present. It's like this, right? Here's what's dropping in. It's like, think of yourself as a depth of the ocean, right? When you're having a conversation with another part of you, right, which is another wave, the depth of the wave is, let's say, 10 meters, And that's the depth of the conversation. But if the conversation changes, or you're changing gears, as I would call it, suddenly the depth of presence drops deeper, and there's more of the ocean that's involved or that is required to come through the wave. Can you see what I'm saying? I'm still present in this conversation, right? But when I come into this conversation that I'm having, there is more of me that is required. Over here, it's just two waves having a conversation. But now there is the ocean needs to come. So it's both presence, but there is more of me in this conversation. And we call those conversations meaningful, or what do we call it? Deep and meaningful. It's a deeper part of you that is enrolled in the conversation. So both are presence, right? Like I was present there, but it was just your wave and my wave having a conversation, and it's still joyful, and it was fun, and I was talking about something I'm passionate about. But when I'm coming here, this conversation is different. Why is it different? It's no longer talking about something that's part of duality. It's about talking about it's not about talking about something that you have an idea about and I would have an idea about. This is my team and this is your team. It's something that is deeper, so you can feel your ocean. Like I have to come from a deeper place. So it's not like, is this right, is this wrong? It's just I have to come from a deeper place so you can feel that deeper place in yourself. It's just a different conversation. There's more of me in this conversation. And you could feel that. You could feel that. You could say, no, I felt you were completely present at the football, and I was. But when I come here, there's more of me being present, or there's a deeper part of me being present. Yeah? I'm trying to see if there's any other ways I can give you more references, but let's see what you got.
What I'm getting, and how I'm interpreting the conversation is sort of when you talk about like you have to empty yourself out to something to move through you, or the universe to move through you, and whilst you're having the conversation here, you may not have that much emptiness, for lack of a better way of saying that. So you're having the conversation, but it could be a combination of I just don't see it as something moving through you. I just see it more so as, there's excitement and conversation and everything, but it is more at that superficial level. And then when you're sitting in front of the camera and you're talking about this, then that's when you're more of an emptiness to be able to have whatever it is that's moving through you. Is that sort of similar?
That's what I'm saying. It's just, so there's more of me when I'm talking about this. I come from a deeper place, so then there's more of me. It's not just the wave. And that proves that there's nothing wrong with having, surface level conversations, as long as it's true for you. Yeah, it's true for me to talk to these guys about footy. I have an interest there. So if I'm not being present with them, it's probably because it's not true for me to talk to them about that. But they're talking to me, and I'm like, yeah, that's great. Okay, then that's not being present. But I was still present, but I didn't require all of my being, from the deep of the ocean, because the conversation was something about surface. But who cares anyway, at the end of the day? One more question.
One thing that comes to me with this discussion is when I find that I'm speaking with someone about something I'm passionate about and I'm being present, usually I'm drawing on future thoughts or previous thoughts, whereas if I'm being present with a person, I'm speaking what comes through me with that person for whatever the circumstance is, I usually don't remember what I said afterwards. And that's when I find I was the most present for whatever the purpose was at that time. But when I'm speaking about sport, it's because I'm passionate, I'm calling on future or past conversation.
Okay, thank you. Anything else?
Keep going.
All right. So, In previous months, we spoke that your awareness is the part of you that becomes, if I can use the word aware, of your expansiveness. We spoke about, and we've just touched on right now, that who you truly are is already expanded. Yes? So you're not, and expanded means space. You don't need to make more space. It's just that your awareness of your space is small. So let's get that right, okay? Because you're already infinite, or you're already expanded, which means you already have infinite space. It's just your awareness of your space is small. So what happens when you're making space, because you're not really making space, you're actually expanding your awareness of your expanded space, if that makes sense. And we spoke about this just before the break, where we said as you're on this path, you'll notice that similar stories that happened months ago or years ago that would have you cause a huge reaction doesn't cause the same reaction because your space is now expanded. And that's why we have those things show up, to show you that your space is expanded. You see, I don't get up in the morning and go, I feel more expanded. I don't notice, I've spoken about this in the WTF, you don't notice that you're getting more expanded. You don't notice, because you just become more expanded. Your space becomes more expanded. You don't notice it because you just become it. Do you know what I mean? It's not like growth where you can feel the growth, you know. It's like a hair, you know. You don't notice your hair growing. You know, I didn't cut my hair for a little while, but after a little while in the previous months, I was like, holy heck, my hair is very long now. I need a haircut. And I better get a haircut, right? You guys saw it a couple months ago. But I didn't notice it every day and go, oh, just grew a millimeter today, 0.1 of a millimeter. My hair just grew in the last 1 hour. You don't notice it. So please understand, you won't notice yourself being expanded. So what you use is your reflection. You use your reflection so you can mirror and go, wow, I've really expanded. So you would create a story to go, that would really cause me suffering normally. That would really cause me being disheartened. That would, or normally would be, you know, when I would break up, I would be disheartened for a year. But now I'm noticing that I was just disheartened for a couple of days. Is there something wrong with me? I should be, you know, should I be remorseful? Like, you think there's something wrong. Your space is expanded. And that's why you use the story so you can reflect and go, oh wow, I've become expanded. So the first thing that you need to understand is that to make more space, you're not making more space, you are just expanding your awareness of the expansiveness of your space that already is. Does that make sense? Okay, because the part of you that goes, how do I make more space, is the drop. And it's going, well, how do I make more space? And then I will give you something, and then you will use it as a tool or technique to expand space. But it won't be able to expand space. So, I've already touched on it. The present moment. You know, a lot of the work that we do, we refer to the present moment. One of the reasons that I suggest for you guys to go and experience the OMG intensive, or a program with my sister Gazelle Lowe, is because the whole program for 4 days is about being present. And what is the power of being present? Well, space is in the present moment. When you are in the moment, and I spoke about this a couple of months ago, not when you are in the present moment, because the present moment is, like I was just talking about the waves, it's at the surface level. Why is that at the surface level? Because in the present moment, it still has a past and it still has a future. For there to be a present moment, it has to have a past and a future. If you say I'm present, what you're really saying is I'm in the middle of my past and future, which means my past and future is still influencing this present moment. But I am in the middle, okay? Which is the door of the moment that's now. When you drop deeper, I'm just giving you little reminders of previous months. When you drop deeper into the present moment, and how do you drop deeper into the present moment? You just keep giving space. You know, one of the ways that my sister, for example, teaches people how to be present is she uses the form to find the present moment. So she'll go, right now, place your attention onto your feet. So if you place your attention on your feet right now, and everyone go and put your feet flat on the ground and place your attention on your feet, or place your attention on your fingertips. You know, put your hands out in front of you right now. If you place your attention on your feet, you place your attention right now, what are you doing? You are giving space to your feet. Therefore, you're feeling the space that surrounds the form, and you feel a tingling sensation. Okay? So that's one way Gaz gets people to continuously be present. What I always continuously guide people to do is to place their attention on the breath. And this afternoon we'll be doing a practice that I can leave you with, right? And that's pretty amazing. Now, the breath is, if you like, the part of you that's formless. So there's two ways of finding the present moment, which is space, guys. We're talking about space here, which is wealth. So I just want to make sure I've captured everyone again. We're still talking about money, still talking about wealth. Your attention, using your form part, your physical part, putting your attention on your feet right now, right? Bang. You are giving space to your feet, and you are feeling the sensations in your feet. Here's my question. Has those sensations always been there? Yes, but your attention was somewhere else. In other words, your awareness was somewhere else. Who you are is your awareness. Where you take your awareness is what forms who you are. You are not this body, but you are your awareness, right? If your awareness is just of the physical, then your space is very tight. But if your awareness expands outwards, you know, Jamie was asking me recently, we were at the beach, he goes, well, how do I make more space? I go, Jamie, right now, stop. Look around you. Place your attention on the waves. Just bring your awareness of the waves and watch the waves doing what they're doing. Bring your awareness into the space around you. And I took him through this whole little process. Bring your awareness and watch the trees moving, right? And he just went, wow, I can feel the space right there. That space is life. That space is the ocean that the fish swims in. You see, that space is constant. It's the flat line. You know, when I talk about the ups and downs in the WTF, you go up and down, the positive, negatives. What takes you away from the constant is this. This is what takes you, your positive and negative thoughts. It takes you away from, in other words, it consumes space from where there is space. The flat line is the space, that emptiness. And I will do a little guided thing. Call it a thing. I'm trying not to call it a tool because then you guys will make it into a tool. I will give you a practice and you will feel that space. I promise you. We're going to use your breath, right? And it'll be instant, like you will feel it. Like right now, amongst your breathing, there is space, but you're not aware of it. If you go there with your mind is continuously trying to make the space into something. In other words, what I'm saying, listen very carefully. It's trying to fill up the space. When I say your mind, I'm talking about your ego, I'm talking about the part of you that needs identity. If there's a space and there's nothing there, then the identity doesn't exist. So what the ego or the I as the identity, not the I as the infinite part of you, what the I as the identity does, when it goes to an empty space, it wants to fill it up with things. Okay? So then it can exist. So then it can have an identity. It's like, oh, there it is. And what does it fill up with? Thoughts. And what does that do? It takes up space. Let me give you an example. You feel true to do something, right? The feeling that arises comes from space. That is why when you feel it, you feel, oh my God, it's possible, right? Your mind then goes to fill that space up with things. What does it fill up with? Where am I going to get the money from? Or, I've got the money, all right, when's the best time to pay for that? Well, I wonder if I can get a discount, like as a strategy comes in. Can I get a discount there? You know, can I get a 2 for 1? Or, do you know what I mean? You know, when's the best time to use this money? Or all these strategies come and it takes up space. So this is what you got to realize, is that the space is already there. Otherwise, you wouldn't have felt its possibilities when it arises within you. And if you're going to yourself, well, it doesn't arise within me much, it's because every time it had in the past, you would fill it up with space. Well, you would consume the space by filling it up with things. So before you go into the mode of how do I make more space, just understand the space is already there. Okay? And here's how you allow the space to continue to flow. When I have a coaching session with someone, and I don't have too much coaching sessions, I charge $1,000 a session, and that's based on the idea that I don't want to do too many sessions. So most people won't pay $1,000. It's very easy what my sessions are about. My sessions are about getting people to take can I share your session? We had a session just last month. Yeah, Karen and I had a session, and she had a decision to make that was around buying a home, right? Now, after listening for about 10 or 15 minutes to Karen, I already know what this session was about, right? And I reflected back to Karen. I say, so what I'm hearing from you is that you want to make this decision. You have this love for living in a home like this, da 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 da, right? Now, the only thing that's lacking is her choosing to make a decision to follow the feeling that's come from space. Do you understand? Now, what an individual would want to do in a coaching session, which is it's me just talk about their story, and you know, because they want to entertain their story and they want to have a coaching session. The most effective coaching session I can give to Karen was, okay, Karen, it's 15 minutes. It's enough. You know what to do. This is what feels true for you. I reflected back to her. She went, yep, feels true. This feels true. Okay, go do it. You see, that's where everyone stops. But hang on, we need to talk about it. What do you want to talk about? She didn't say that, but that's what most people, we need to talk about it. No. You're saying this is true for you. I'm not having A, any more sessions with you. B, I'm not going to continue this session until you choose to do that. Because if you can't do that, then there's nothing else to talk about. You don't really want this session. So I sent her out of the room. I said, go down to the beach, come back once you've made the decision, and then we'll continue the session. So she went down the beach, came back, and I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes later, and goes, all right, I've decided. Can you, like, people go, but how? They're just not willing. So people pay me, right, to actually just give them a little kick and go, to be willing. Like, there is no mystery or smoke and mirrors, you know. The moment you're clear, and this is the first part of the first stage of this path, is for you to be clear when a decision is what feels moved. And I spoke about this last month. And you guys are in month 8, 9, or whatever, you know, you're pretty clear by now what's a reaction, an ego, And if you're not, then you keep practicing, right? You're pretty clear. The only thing that's left for you to do is when you feel moved to do it, do it. Or you think to yourself, how is this going to happen? What if the property didn't settle? What if and all those things take or fill up that space that already came up. There's nothing I've got to talk to you about. I don't need to talk to you about money. I don't need to talk to you about, you're just not willing, you got to be willing to make that decision. Rachel.
I find that when I've got a decision to make or I'm looking for an answer and I think about going to you or going to Gaz, I stop myself and I go and I ask myself what I'm really looking for, and I'm just looking for you to tell me that it's the right decision or to make me feel safe. Like what is the real thing that I'm looking for?
Yeah. But the thing is, when the thing that arises, just go back to whenever something arises, is there space in there? Yes, there is. That's why you feel, oh my God, this is amazing. I can't believe I never thought about it before. I can't believe it. Right there, that's space that you call intuition. That's the space coming to you, and it's going to be manifesting itself from formless into form. But you take that space away by thinking. So the first thing you got to realize is that the space is already there. Before I even go into expanding space, there's nothing to expand when it's already there. Okay, that's the first thing you need to grasp. Well, actually, the first thing you need to grasp is not being full of shit. Okay, so be honest with yourself, and that's what I'm really saying. Is just be honest with yourself and ask yourself, why am I not doing this? You don't have to tell anyone else. Just watch what you do with money. What's one of your homeworks is going to be throughout this month. Watch the thoughts that arise when you go to give money, express the appreciation of money or spend money or whatever you want to call it. Watch the process. And just be honest with yourself. Because I think when you're being honest with yourself, that's what's going to give you the courage. Honesty. Courage is in honesty. Courage is in being open, and honesty is being open. And all you're being honest or open to is yourself. So that's the first thing. Don't be full of shit. Be honest. Watch what happens when you go out there and buy a coffee. Watch what happens when you go and pay your bill. Watch the processes that take place. And just feel yourself opening up. That's number one. Number two is what we're speaking about now. What are we speaking about right now? Just lost my train of thought. Hey? That the space is already expanded. Becoming aware of that. Okay. I was going to show you something this afternoon. I'm going to do it, in fact, now, so you can practice it over lunch break. I want everyone just to drop everything out of their hands and just sit back. Come on, sit back, and we're going to do a little, it's not a meditation, so everyone keeps their eyes open. All right? We're not going to do a meditation. I just want you to observe. Right? Because we are talking about coming out. So one of the things I want you to observe, I'll tell you why I'm doing this. How about that? Let me give you a bit of history of why I'm about to give you this practice. I was about to say when I was younger. But when I was younger, my mum gave me a 2-page thesis about what the truth is. And this is, I don't know, 8, 10 years ago or whatever it was. And this 2-page thesis, I remember the significant part of it was, in the beginning, there was one infinite energy. Sound familiar when I talk about it in the WTF? And from this 2-page thesis, her truth thesis, I carried this piece of paper around with me. I've still got it. Don't have my bag with me, but it's got holes in it now, and because I've creased it and so. But I carried this piece of paper over and over and over again, and I would read it and read it and read it and study it and study it. And like at first it was just words. But as I started to read deeper and deeper into it, I started reading deeper and deeper into myself. And from that piece of paper, I started to speak the truth. I turned that 2-day thing, that 2-page thing into a 2-day program called the WTF Experience. Then I kept drawing more. Really what I'm drawing is from myself. It's not the piece of paper. But the piece of paper that my mother gave me was like a seed. And these months, by the way, are just like seeds. And this month right now, you're sitting here, you're giving space to the truth. You're feeling the space. This is why we have these month by month, not just over 12 days. And I would take from this, and everything that I speak about today started on those 2 pieces of paper that she gave me. They were like a seed. Recently, she comes up to me and she goes, I've got another piece of paper for you. And I was like, oh, okay, great. You know, she wrote this in Persian, in Farsi, right? And she got one of my cousins to translate it in English. And then she gave it to me. She read it to me in Persian, okay? But I didn't understand. Some of the Persian words she uses, I don't understand because my Persian is not proper. I can understand and speak, but they're big words. So she got to translate it in English. And once she gave it to me in English, it was just like, you know, it's just like, you know, it sounds like my mum when she comes. Anyone met my mum at the retreat? You know, it's just energy, big love, big. It's like, what does that mean? You know, so I'm reading this. I'm like, and she goes, I want you to take this in and bring it and rewrite it for me. And what she wrote is really powerful. In fact, I'm going to actually share it with everybody. I'm going to give you guys a copy of it once it's been completed. But there's this one particular point of what she wrote that I actually want to talk to you about. And it's very interesting because it's exactly what I'm going through right now. Ever come to OMG and you're like, oh my God, this is what I've been thinking. This is what I've been contemplating on. It's always like perfect, right? So of course my mum shows up in the perfect moment and goes, here's your next piece. And this in there, it was about coming out. Yeah, this is what we're speaking about. And it was a really interesting statement that she wrote in there is that the way out is the same way you came in. Now, again, that might just be words for you, but I would sit there and go, what does that mean? Just like my mum used to say to me, you didn't run out of money. You don't lack money, you just don't have space. I would sit there for months contemplating, pondering, reflecting, what does it mean, space? Hence why we've been speaking about space for the last 4 or 5 months. It's all about space. So then I kept pondering about this thing. Well, the way back out is the same way you came in. And there was another line in there, just like your breath. You breathe in and then you breathe out. The way in, the way out. And I continued to contemplate this. And I want to give this to you to contemplate, to ponder, to reflect, to practice and experience for yourself. What does she mean? The way to come back out. Because remember, and we've spoken about this previous months, when you breathe in, everybody take a deep breath in, as deep as you can, breathe in. Breathe in, breathe in, breathe in. Come on, that's it. Your capacity, breathe out, you can breathe out, you're sitting in the game. Breathe out. Your capacity of how much breath that you can take in, your space, is as big as your lungs. That's all you can take in. Can you see? This is reflecting back to money. The space that you have is dependent on the size of your lungs. Metaphor. However, if you bring your awareness outside. If you bring your awareness outside of this body and realize that you are not this body, you are not the breath that goes in this body. Because when you think you're this body, you are that much breath. But if you bring your awareness and realize you are not the fish, you are the ocean. In other words, you are the breath. You are the energy amongst the breath that's outside. Then you no longer are finite or limited in space, because your space is infinite. But then you put one drop of yourself in this body and come back out. You're never separate from it. Can you see what I'm saying? When you're the body breathing, doesn't matter how rich you become, you're still limited. You have money, you can't spend it. You spend the money, it doesn't make you happy. You don't have money, you freak out. It's limited. But place your attention outside, place your attention on the essence of who you are. You then realize you are the space, and you're putting one drop of yourself into the body and coming out. But when you breathe in, the moment you breathe in, your computer, your thinking takes over and goes, I am that much breath. It almost disconnects from it. Do you understand? We'll do the practice and you'll understand at a deeper level. So, what I want you to practice right now is just to sit there, being present, and simply place your attention on your breath. Keep your eyes open, because I don't want you to go into meditation mode. I don't want you to turn it into a tool or technique. You're already breathing. You know, you've been breathing all day. Since I started speaking, you've been breathing. I just want you to bring your awareness to your breath. And I want you to notice the breath going in and notice the breath coming out. I haven't given you any further instructions. Don't read into anything further. Just want you to notice. Just keep your feet flat on the ground just so you're totally present. Just sit up in your chair, just normal. And when you feel present, when you found this moment now, I want you to see if you can find or notice a difference. When I say a difference, see if you can notice a trend or a difference of some sort when you're being present. You see, before you weren't present to your thoughts because you were listening to what I was saying. Now you're being present to your thoughts. Before you weren't present to your breath because you were listening to what I'm saying. Now you are being present to your breath. And as you're being present to your breath, which is giving space to your breath or bringing your awareness to your breath, you're noticing the breath going in and going out. Yes? Before you weren't noticing it. Now everyone is noticing the breath going in and going out, right? Now that you're noticing it going out, see if you can notice anything else. And you tell me if you can feel or sense or notice or observe a difference of some sort. Or if you can notice something. See, it takes great level of presence to be able to notice what I want you to notice. And I don't think anyone will notice it until I point it out. Could be wrong though. Does anyone notice anything? Microphone? Just everyone else, keep with your breath. Keep with your breath. Just notice the breath going in, observe, observe.
It's the same feeling as we did the oneness meditation when we were, nothing mattered. That
Yep.
same spaciousness is here.
So you're noticing the space, the presence within
Present on
within
the
the
outside, that
breath.
Spaciousness, that infinity, that peace is here,
Okay.
outside.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? There's something more. There's a detail I want you to notice.
I feel there's no difference between the two,
Between what
Just-
two?
the inside and the outside.
Okay.
There is no inside and outside. There is just presence.
Okay. So you're experiencing presence, which is great, right? And the connectivity between the internal and the external, which is great. There is a detail.
I noticed there is no thoughts there,
Yes.
and when the thoughts do come, if they come, you notice them straight away.
Okay. Very good. So far, every description is about presence and about the connectivity and, okay. Yep.
I noticed the feeling of being huge, like everything. Like just energy and there's nothing. There's just breath, which is infinite. There's no end to it.
Okay. Thank you. Here, let me drop in a question here for you. All right? Let me drop in a question. Bring your awareness now to see or observe if there is a difference between the breath going in and the breath coming out. Just wait for a moment. I just want to give you some space before anyone else speaks. See if you can notice a difference, if there is. And when I say difference, you'll feel or you will sense a difference between the breath going in and the breath coming out, if there is a difference. Okay. Who senses that it's exactly the same? Put your hand up if you senses. So, few of you. Who sense that there's a difference between the breath going in and breath going out? A lot more of you. Okay. What did you want to share, Monica?
I just wanted to say that I don't feel that the breath doesn't come from outside. It's just there, and it's just being. This was clear before. I don't think that makes sense right now.
How are you feeling?
All right, before I was in a very deep present state. I still feel very present right now.
Okay.
But I can't articulate what I wanted to say before. But I think, yeah.
Okay, thanks. Thank you. Microphone.
I don't know if it's helping if I'm like a tiny bit sleepy and it's almost sending me off into a deeper meditative state or not, but I mean the first thing that came to mind even before you asked us to do that second part was that I am the breath, and sort of sense of sleepiness almost sent me off into a state where I wasn't even sure if I was breathing in or breathing out. I'm not sure which one was which. Sort of like that, I guess, just like I am the breath, I am that energy.
Okay. All right. Well, look, I'm not looking for any massive insights here. Like, I feel like a lot of you are like trying to get this massive insight and have a big answer. It's actually very simple, what I want you to observe. So what I feel to do is I'm not going to tell you because it sounds like I want you to go over to lunch. We have an hour and a half break like we normally do. But 45 minutes of that, half of that time, I want you to spend it by yourself and just sit there and observe your breath. And I want you to observe your breath in two parts. The part going in and the part coming out. All right? Observe the breath going in. Observe the breath. Slow everything down as much as you can. Just let yourself be right here. You see, when you're breathing in and out, you just have this, you just assume what it's meant to do. Yeah? Well, what do you want me to notice? I'm breathing in, breathing out. It's just like, and I want you to really be with your breath. And we're going to break it up into two different parts. And there is two parts to your breath. So notice the part going in. And as that finishes, notice the transition. As it then comes out, then notice the breath out. As you finish coming out, notice the transition. As you come back in, then notice the breath coming in. So in truth, there's actually four parts. There's the breath going in. There's a transition point where the breath going in is now turning and it's coming out. Then there's another transition point where it's coming and then the breath is going in. So there's four. Breath going in, transition point. Breath coming out, transition point. Breath coming back in. So if you can, break it down to four parts. If that's too complicated and you're like, what, just break it down to two parts. Just notice the breath going in. Some of you won't notice the transition point. If you're really, really still, you'll notice the transition. And what's this transition? It's the moment where the breath going in finishes going in. And that moment where the breath then decides to come back out. And then once the breath comes out, the moment it's all come out, there's a transition point from going out to back in. You want to know about space? Be really, really present. Now, some of you, I can feel you're tired and you're falling asleep and you're looking for big answers. That's why. You're looking for, oh my God, that was awesome. It was, I just felt oneness and, okay, cool. You know, I know you're all feeling present right now. That's great. But be even more present to just noticing the breath. Don't look for anything. Don't look for any truth or insight. Just notice if there is a difference of anything. If there is, what do you notice in the transition point? What do you notice in the breath out? Then what do you notice in this transition point of coming back in? Then what do you notice when the breath comes in? Then what do you notice when you're at the next transition point and the breath is coming back out? And then notice the breath coming out. Like, can you see I'm breaking this down? All right? I could just tell you right now, but I feel like everyone went for this big woo-woo answer. Not a woo-woo answer, but you know, the big truth insight. You know, it's actually very simple. I just want you to notice the sensations. I'm not saying what you guys said is not true. It is. You are experiencing presence. You are experiencing the connectivity of all things. You are experiencing yourself being relaxed. Yes. But I want you to go deeper. I want you to experience the space. So the way for you to do that is I want you to notice the difference. Notice the breath in. Remember what I just shared before I just gave you this exercise, guys. If you're looking for the insight, the way back out is the same way you came in. Maybe you want to ponder on what I just said and why I said that before I gave you this exercise. Question? Or share, comment, or?
What I've observed was, for me, the transition point was a moment. There was nothing else.
Okay, good. Don't share it right now. I want you to go experience it more, because some people don't want to really do it and they just want someone else to tell them what did you experience. I don't want you to share with each other. Do not talk about this until we come back in the room, because I'll be honest, some of you are lazy. You know, your will is lazy. Just tell me what I'm meant to feel, Amir. I know that because I was like that. My mum would ask me these questions. Well, what do you think this is? And what do you feel in this? And I'm just like, Mum, just shut up. Just tell me what you're trying to tell me, you know? Because I'm lazy. I don't want to, you know, I just want, you know, I know this stuff. Just tell me, you know, I'm already expanded, Mum. Just tell me. You know, what are you trying to say? But she would always try to get me to realize it rather than she tells me. You know, both works, because when she told me, I would go sit there and dissect what she just told me. Like, the way in, the way out is the same way you came in. Like, I would sit there and go, you know, and really, and know that that has a lot to do with the breath. The breath is just part of the story. Because you're an infinite being. You know, but in the story, you've manifested yourself. Remember, I said to you, the stories are just metaphors. It's metaphors of you coming in and out. So take what's just been said, the way back out to where, to your space, is the same way you came in. Take that, ponder on it. Then I want you to sit there and notice the transition, the two transitions, the two segments of the breath. The breath in, breath out. Any other questions? At least 45 minutes to an hour. Why do we do this? Because, do you know, most of the practices I give to you guys don't do it when you go home? Did you know that? You're not the only one if you're sitting there going, oh yeah, I'd never. Do you know most of you don't do it? So then I kind of make space during the program to go, okay, go do it. And do you know, when I give this space for you to go do it, do you know some of you just go sit on your iPads? I'm not trying to make you feel bad or anything. I'm just trying to give you the truth. Last month, one of the homework was, you know, we said that if you want to come out, you have to take what's in here and take it out. So I wanted you to continuously write about what's in here and bring it out. That was last month's homework. You know, for all and I told the OMG members to go and write it on the Truth blog and on the forum that we've created for you guys. you don't have to put your hand up who did it, who not. But I can tell you, I'm not looking at anyone, but I can tell you, I know some of you have done it, and some of you haven't. But that's why I put it into the program in the day, because most people don't go and do what I just shared with you. It's amazing. And I'm not trying to big note the Americans, but the American OMG, I think every single one of them did it. You guys, those who are coming to the retreat in a couple of weeks, I'm not trying to build any expectation, but these guys are just like, but when I first met this American group, they were like, all woo-woo. But it's amazing what the woo-woo transformed into. So this is why we go and do it now, because most of you won't go do it when you go home. And like I said, most of you won't go even do it now, because you'll go sit and then go, I've got to listen, what's happening at work, and da-da-da-da. Am I lying? Like, am I saying something that's false? Does that make any difference for me? No. I observe it. I don't judge it. It doesn't make it. It doesn't make any difference for me. So don't think I walk past and go, oh shit, he saw me on the iPad. I don't care. It doesn't make it. It's only you judging yourself that thinks that I'm judging you. I'm actually not. I actually have it doesn't make any difference. But I'm just kind of giving you a, because sometimes people are like, oh, well, how do I do this? How do I do this? And then I tell them and they don't do it. Most people won't do it. But then don't come and say, I want to know the truth. So that is why we do it. We do it now. So don't think it's, I don't really need to do this now. I'll go home and do it. Do it now.